Welcome to BeerBasics.com. I'm Peter LaFrance. One of the things about being a writer and a blogger and an author about beer and publisher of BeerBasics, organizations, people, and businesses will send you samples of their beers to try and to comment on. One of the organizations that has recently gotten in touch with me by email was an organization out of Arizona called MrBeer. Apparently it's an organization, as I've checked on the web of course to see what they were about. They are an organization that sells homebrewing equipment and homebrewing kits via the internet. What interests me particularly about them is that the beer kits are 2-gallon capacities rather than the traditional 5-gallon capacities. This is of particular interest to me. It will appeal to urban homebrewers because urban homebrewers are naturally limited in the space that they have, and it will also appeal to rural and suburban homebrewers, for those who want to start homebrewing. The history of MrBeer probably goes back, and it does go back, over 20 years. Founded in Dallas, Texas in, I believe it was 1993. Later it was sold to an organization headquartered in Tucson, Arizona, where it's headquartered today. However, in 2011, they were purchased by the folks who brew Cooper's beer in Australia. Now, I can understand the connection here, particularly in that Cooper's did, when I was homebrewing in 1976, have a line of canned malt extract syrup that could be used for homebrewing the traditional 5-gallon batches of beer, which I and homebrewers in the 70s were familiar with. This organization had plans to hold an exhibition of their products. Unfortunately, they were not able to for reasons that they have. And so they have sent to me a selection of beers. Now, who brewed these beers, I have no idea. What I do know is that they are in PET bottles with twist-off caps, and the labeling is such that it would be an example of the labeling available from this business, from this organization. Again, I do not know who brewed this beer, and I don't know where it was brewed. But I do know that it is an attempt by a organization, a business that is interested and has been interested in home brewers and in people homebrewing beer. Their catalog contains a number of examples of the different styles of beer, and the one that I am going to taste test for them is probably the most difficult one, and that would be a lager beer, a Pilsner style beer. So why don't we start with that right now. First of all, we have the Grand Bohemian Czech Pilsner. As I said, it is in a PET bottle, which is a smidge unusual. It also has a twist-off top, which is even more unusual. If I take a beer flashlight and shine it through, it does appear to be slightly opaque. This could be a chill due to the protein in the process of brewing. However, This particular beer, I am going to once again assume was brewed from an extract, or what we call here in the United States a syrup. Okay, we're going to once again take a look. I will be using my Ebbetsfield pint glass. Well, we do have a release of the carbonation. The top came off admirably. And now the traditional pouring of the beer at 45-degree angle down the side. Whoa, we've got some foam in this one, yes sirree. However, it is breaking up quickly. This is a beer clean glass, and it was wiped with a lint-free dish rag. As you can see, the head is falling rather quickly. It is a light colored head to it, a very thin head though, and the beer, as we can see, is slightly cloudy. It is quite effervescent. The first aroma is one that is of a sweet roasted grain flavor. I'm getting a sharp aroma that is coming over that, which could either be hops with a sharp, hoppy, very aromatic type of a hop. There's almost a mint, either a peppermint or a spearmint type of aroma coming off of this. Now for the first sip. After the first refreshing coolness that envelops the tongue and the inside of the mouth, once you open up and breathe in to aspirate, to let the air excite your the olfactory senses, so that you can actually smell as well as taste the different influences here. It has a sharpness to it, which is most reminiscent of some of the home brews that I did back in the 70s and 80s. There is a dry finish to this, but let's get to the finish later. The body of the beer it's not a full-bodied beer. It is a relatively light-bodied beer. The mouthfeel is a lighter sensation than, say, a Kolsch or a Pilsner that would be brewed commercially here in the United States, or the Kolsch, of course, in Germany. A third sip. There's very little malt to this, a great deal of tang of hops, and a dry finish that is not unpleasant, but has a tendency to be a bit dusty. For commercial beer, this would not be a bad beer to drink as a session beer. Again, there's no mark of alcohol content on this, so it would be a guess on my part to think that it would probably be less, or it's probably not more than maybe 7 or 8% alcohol. Well, at least I certainly would hope not, because that starts to get a little too much alcohol for session drinking, and being billed as a Grand Bohemian Czech Pilsner, that would not be conducive to the style. Overall, if this was the efforts of a third or fourth attempt of homebrewing, I certainly would consider it a success. There's certainly no down flavors to it, and there is no contamination to it, and the final product is certainly certainly drinkable and enjoyable. I will be following up, of course, with more information about who brewed, why they brewed it, when they brewed it, and how they brewed it. I'm Peter LaFrance. This is BeerBasics.com.